I just finished up building the test stand for my largest rocket motor yet, MEGAx. This motor will do around 500 pounds of thrust with a total impulse of over 5,000 Newton-seconds. Right now, on top of holding the motor vertically and securely in place, the test stand has a load cell to measure thrust and a pressure transducer to measure the pressure inside of the motor. But there's one more system I want to add, and that's temperature measurement with thermocouples. Today's video will focus on exactly how I integrated the thermocouple system into my test stand. A thermocouple is a temperature sensor made from two different metals joined at the tip. When the tip heats up or cools down, this creates a tiny voltage. A meter or data logger reads that voltage and converts it into temperature. For the setup, the thermocouples will be mounted on the outside of my motor casing. That lets me track the casing temperature during the burn. For my SN series, I manually took the temperature of the casing after the burn, but I was usually taking that measurement 5 to 10 minutes after the test. So it missed the peak temperature and it also wasn't very accurate. My casing is made from 6061 aluminum. 6061 gets a lot of its strength from its heat treatment, which people usually call the temper. If the casing gets hot enough, that temper can start to get reduced and the material can soften. That loss in strength can reduce the amount of pressure that the casing can hold safely. That's why the thermocouple setup is so important. The material spec sheet is on the screen right now for the baseline of what 6061 looks like before it gets heat cycled. The key takeaway is that the yield and ultimate strengths are high enough for the design, but they are tied to temper. And the melting point is way higher than anything I should see, so that's not a problem. The concern is the strength dropping before you get anywhere close to the melting point. There are ways to reduce heat into the casing, like adding an internal liner, but these liners add complexity, weight, and size. So I want to avoid that unless the temperature data proves I really need it. Building rocket motors at this scale is expensive. Any parts I can reuse safely lowers the cost per test a lot. For example, this casing alone is around $100. I've designed other parts with reusability in mind too. For example, the nozzle has a graphite insert around the areas of peak heating, so hopefully I can reuse it for the next test. To build this system, I need four main things: an Arduino, which is the main brains, an SD card shield, which allows me to log the data straight to an SD card, a thermocouple amplifier, which I'll explain in a second, and the thermocouples themselves. This is how the system works. It starts with a thermocouple producing a tiny voltage that depends on temperature. That voltage is extremely small, so the amplifier reads it and converts it into a clean digital temperature value and sends it off to the Arduino. Then the Arduino logs that temperature data onto an SD card. Whenever I'm building an electronic setup like this, I like to prototype everything using a breadboard. That way I can confirm that all the wiring and coding is correct before I solder anything. Once I got the parts, I started by hooking up one thermocouple. Starting with the amplifier, I connected the thermocouple wires to the terminals labeled positive and negative. Thermocouple wire colors can be confusing and vary depending on the brand. I just swapped these wires around until I got a good reading. There are 3 pins on the amplifier board: VIN, 3VO, GND, DO, CS, and CLK. VIN means the voltage into the board, so I connected the voltage in to the 5-volt pin on the Arduino. 3VO means 3.3 volts out, and I do not need this for my setup. GND means ground, so that goes to the ground pad on the Arduino. DO means data out, which is the temperature data coming from the amplifier back to the Arduino. I connected that to digital 12 on the Arduino. CS means chip select, which tells the Arduino which amplifier it's talking to. I connected this to digital 10 on the Arduino. Lastly, CLK means clock, which is a timing signal that the amplifier uses when sending data over. I connected this to digital 13 on the Arduino. These exact pin choices match what I set on the code, so if you change the pins, you need to change the code as well. Once everything was connected, I added the SD card shield directly on top of the Arduino. Once everything was together, I wrote some simple code and verified that the thermocouple was working. I used a cup of ice water as a quick sanity check. The thermocouple read around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Once one of the thermocouples was working, I wired up all 3 thermocouples on the breadboard. I know this looks complicated, but the wiring is actually pretty simple. Each thermocouple amplifier shares the same voltage in, the same ground, the same data out, and the same clock. The only line that changes between each amplifier is the chip select. That's how the Arduino knows which sensor it's reading. Once the wiring was done, I wrote some Arduino code to read all thermocouples and log them onto an SD card as a CSV file. I'm using the Adafruit Max 31855 library for the amplifiers, plus an SPI and SD card logger shield. Like I was saying, all 3 boards share the same clock and data outlines, and each one gets its own chip select pin so Arduino can select which thermocouple it's reading. I also moved the thermocouple clock and data out off of its normal SPI pins because the SD card shield was already using the SPI and I didn't want them to conflict. The code creates a file, writes a header, and then logs the time and all 3 temperatures every half second in Fahrenheit. If a sensor glitches or disconnects, it logs NAN so it's obvious something went wrong. I also added an LED on pin 6 that turns on when the logging is active so I can instantly tell if it's recording. Right now it's set to log for 1 minute for testing. For the real static fire, I'll bump it up to around 10 minutes so I can catch the peak casing temperature, which happens a bit after shutdown due to thermal lag. Once the prototype was working, it's time to solder everything together and mount it to the test stand. I designed and 3D printed this mount to hold all 3 thermocouple amplifiers and the Arduino. Before I installed anything, I sanded it down and painted it. After that, I drilled and tapped all the holes. Then I did a quick fit test to make sure everything fit. When screwing in one of the amplifiers, the standoff broke, so I need to inject a little bit of superglue to lock it back in place. Once I verified everything fit, it was time to start wiring. For this design, I wanted all the leads from the amplifiers to land in screw terminals. That way, if I ever needed to swap an amplifier, it would be quick and easy. I used 5 terminal blocks total, and each had 3 screw spots since I'm running 3 amplifiers. Once the terminal blocks were soldered in, I bridged the pads together and shared the lines for the power, ground, data out, and clock. Once that was done, I added the LED light so I had a visual indicator that the SD card was actively recording. After that, I cut all 15 wires to length and started adding them into the screw terminals. Not gonna lie, this part was a pain because there was so many wires in a small space, but I just worked through it one connection at a time. I soldered each wire to the correct amplifier and then cleaned it up with some wire management. After that, I ended up with a pretty clean, serviceable unit. Now it's time to attach this whole system onto the test stand. I had to drill a new mounting hole into the bracket because the original spot that I designed for didn't clear one of the amplifiers. It didn't look great, but it will work. Once that was done, I mounted everything onto the test stand T-slot. Then I used 3-inch pipe clamps to clamp the thermocouples onto the outside of the casing. These thermocouples will be placed on the top, middle, and bottom. Once they were mounted, I ran a test to see if everything was working. And based on the data, the test did not work. At this point, it was 1 o'clock in the morning and I did not feel like troubleshooting. The next day, I found the issue immediately. On the first amplifier, I accidentally swapped the chip select and clock line. Luckily, that was a very easy fix. After swapping the wires, the system worked perfectly. And with that, the thermocouple system was fully integrated to the test stand. I really hope you enjoyed this video. The static fire for MEGAx is coming up in the beginning of January, so if you're not subscribed, please make sure to subscribe. It's going to be really cool. A lot more videos are going to be coming out. And with that, please subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
This is my segment once again. I don't know what to say anymore.